destroy the target, it's vital to have weapons that take out the enemy no matter how they take shelter. Weapons like the MP7. It's as small as a submachine gun, but packs the firepower of an assault rifle. And I check out the F-22 Raptor. This fighter is as stealthy as it is deadly. They'll never see it coming. And who needs doors when you've got the latest device that can smash through walls? I'm Richard Mackwitz. I spent 10 years with the Navy SEALs, and I'm on a journey to seek out the world's most powerful weapons. Weapons that leave the enemy no escape.
In a combat situation, having the right weapon at the right time can make all the difference in defeating the enemy, especially if they're wearing body armor.
For sheer stopping power, the normal weapon of choice is the assault rifle. This is what the M16 assault rifle can do to a piece of body armor. Their small but high-velocity rounds can do serious damage.
The round went all the way through. That's definitely not something you're going to be happy about when you're wearing this piece of body armor. That's the advantage of shooting a high-speed round like the 5.56.
These rounds are effective at ranges up to 500 yards. But for close-quarter combat situations like room clearance, you want a smaller weapon that's easy to handle in confined areas.
Now what we've got here is an MP5. In tight quarters, and you want to deliver good firepower, the MP5 is the weapon that most people count on.
The limitation with these weapons is that they only fire the 9mm pistol round. They just don't have the speed to defeat standard body armor.
There's definitely no penetration. And I'll tell you, that's a scary scenario. You shot a guy in the chest, you think you dropped him. He's awake, he's ready to fire back. It's the worst case scenario. So, what's needed is a close quarter combat capability of an MP5 with the power and the bang and the punch of a high caliber bullet.
Meet the weapon that claims to do just that. The MP7A1. It's the latest in personal defense weapons, or PDWs, developed by Heckler & Koch. I've come to their shooting range in Loudon, Virginia to find out more for myself. It's designed to have the firepower of an assault rifle, but is as compact as a submachine gun. Bruce Gateson consulted on the design of the MP7.
MP7 was designed to be able to do things that pistols can't do. Problem is, when you get into certain situations and you have to rely on your secondary weapon, or you want to have something more concealable, you've got something here that can do a lot more than a pistol can.
The MP7 is a gas-operated multi-role weapon. It's light and compact, weighing just over 4 pounds, loaded with 20 rounds. It has a retractable buttstock, so you can change the length from assault rifle to submachine gun. It can be shoulder-fired like a rifle or held out in front like a pistol. It's designed to fire the 4.6mm round. This is special high-velocity ammunition, which carries the penetrating power of a rifle round.
It's actually more of a small rifle caliber cartridge than it is a pistol cartridge.
Okay, what advantage do you get with that?
Well, you get extended range, you get extended penetration capability.
The claim that it can penetrate like an assault rifle is what sets the MP7 apart from other small arms. If it's true, this is a major breakthrough in modern combat. I have to find out for myself. So, time to test the brand new MP7. The 4.6mm round used by the MP7 is unique to this gun. And it's designed to minimize recoil while increasing penetration through body armor. It's a small round with a big punch.
Wow, look at that. Look at that, it's a pretty good group right there. Wow. So we definitely know we've got penetration here. Oh, that tells you pretty much everything right off the bat. Look at that. When you start to look at the penetration power, look at that. And then out the other side. I'll tell you, if your head was in there, game over.
The MP7 is easy to handle, easy to conceal, and, as we've seen, it packs serious firepower. That makes it great for dignitary and executive protection teams in vehicles.
Look at this. I've got free room here. If I needed to actually deliver rounds downrange, I could do that. I could store it down here safely, no problem. And if I'm taking a contact and I open up my door, I can immediately start delivering rounds downrange. I can start putting heads down, and that's going to make all the difference in a firefight. So, when you're looking at the MP7, it's small, it's compact, it's made for close quarter battle.
And its sound suppressor is tailor-made so it doesn't interfere with accuracy or rate of fire. And being compact doesn't mean its firepower is compromised. Its rate of fire is 950 rounds per minute. That's more than a match for any submachine gun. So, you can be covert and still be lethal.
I'll tell you what, to see that kind of penetrating power in a suppressed weapon, it's truly scary.
Make no mistake, the mighty MP7 leaves no room for escape.
Small caliber, small weapon, big impact.
Still to come. I get nose to nose with the Raptor, the jet fighter that commands the skies.
We've changed the face of aviation with this airplane.
And when the enemy won't answer the door, go through the wall.
For the last 30 years, the United States has enjoyed absolute dominance of the skies with an aircraft that has never been shot down and has over 100 kills. The F-15 Eagle is that aircraft. And with its impressive stats, it may be the greatest performing fighter of all time. But time swiftly passes.
And the Eagle's reign as king of the sky may be coming to an end. That's because there's been an explosion in the number of low-cost, ultra-high-performance surface-to-air missiles. The latest ones are capable of a mind-bending Mach 5. That's 2 to 3 times faster than most fighters, and that simply means no jet can outrun a rocket. And of course, you've got the F-15's nemesis, the Russian Su-27 Flanker.
But there's a new sheriff in town. And trust me, you don't want to get into a gunfight with this one. Watch out. Here comes the F-22 Raptor.
The F-22 Raptor is a revolutionary aircraft. It's a jet fighter with groundbreaking avionics and targeting technology that relentlessly hunts down its prey. It's a stealth fighter. It will see you long before you see it. And by that time, you're already history.
It is a phenomenal machine. Revolutionary capabilities in terms of handling the airplane, stealth.
The F-22 can dogfight, bomb, and attack. It's faster, more maneuverable, and lethal. It's unbelievably agile. It can turn on a dime. Better yet, the Raptor can go deep into enemy territory in surveillance mode, gathering up intelligence and transmitting it to every friendly aircraft in the same battle space.
We have the ability to act as a command and control. We have the ability to act as a bomber and drop bombs. We have the ability to act as a fighter and shoot down planes.
The F-22 Raptor is setting new standards in aviation. And that's why I'm at Langley, Virginia, to see the future of American air power for myself. Lieutenant Colonel David Nardi, callsign Scud, is Assistant Director of Operations for the 94th Fighter Squadron. He used to fly F-15s, now he's hooked on the F-22.
Why is air dominance so important?
Historically, and to quote, the guy that controls the airspace above tends to control the battlefield. So when we can, in Gulf War I was a great example where you saw tons of Iraqi vehicles destroyed along highways and stuff. We were able to do that because we owned the airspace, and the enemy did not. As a result, our guys moved freely, guys operated freely, and anybody who we didn't want to be there could be taken out almost instantaneously.
A good fighter needs to leave the enemy with no chance of escape. But they'll be watching for you, so you need to defeat their radar. That's why stealth technology is essential. The F-22's basic shape is designed to deflect radar, and it's covered with several coats of radar-absorbing material. This means that the F-22 registers as just a tiny blip on the enemy's radar and won't be identified as an aircraft that's about to come in and unleash havoc. The Raptor is designed to carry its weapons internally, so its stealthiness isn't compromised. But the F-22's neatest trick is dogfighting. And when you're scrapping it out in the sky, stealthiness isn't enough. So the F-22 is incredibly agile.
Simply put, because of maneuverability, because of the stealth, it's never a fair fight. We tend to get there without them knowing we're there, and once we start turning, the airplane has such exceptional maneuvering capability beyond any other fighter in the world today that nobody else can really compete with it.
The Raptor is so nimble, it can take on several aircraft at one time.
We go out and, we're typically 1 versus 4, 5, 6, and it's still not a fair fight. A lot of times they're not even aware that you're there, and they're dead.
No, the airplane is so good, you actually don't get a real good work on it unless you're having 4 guys coming after you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Or more. Sometimes 4 isn't enough.
But it's the Raptor's avionics that are the real story in future weaponry. They give this bird incredible surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities. It can combine intel from the enemy battlefield using its own sensors along with other friendly sources, giving the pilot a clear view of everyone and everything in the combat arena. You can't escape the F-22.
We call it a God's eye view of the battlefield. We can see what's going on at all times.
So it basically gives a battlefield commander a bird's eye view of what's really happening in that battle space.
Absolutely.
So they can make faster decisions, the better decisions in the right way, and save lives.
The cockpit has a heads-up display projecting vital information right in front of the pilot's eyes. And the pilot can customize that display so he's got vital info right there when and where he needs it.
He can actually set up his displays any way, any configuration he wants. He can have his engine data on one display, or right, left, or in the center. He can have his munitions somewhere else.
Captain Henry Shantz, call sign Shadow, is one of the lucky few who get to fly this magnificent machine. He used to pilot the F-15. Now he flies with the 27th Squadron, and he's a Raptor convert.
And you have the ability to move all these electronic displays just by using your hands and using your thumbs and fingers there, what we like to call playing the piccolo, get things to move around. So it's just a real dream. You can look up through the HUD and see a whole bunch of different information where you don't always have to take your eyes and put them down inside of the cockpit.
The F-22 sensors give the pilot a 360-degree full-color picture of the battlefield. And the data is color-coded, so you can see at a glance who's doing what. But in a real fight, brains aren't going to be enough. You also need serious muscle. And the F-22 isn't short of that. The engines are massively powerful.
Even from here, I can feel the heat from 70,000 pounds of thrust.
This bird is fast. It can reach over Mach 1.5 in level flight without even having to use its afterburners. So at high altitude, it can cover a lot of ground really fast.
Why do you need that kind of speed?
Dogfighting if it's necessary, but usually just even evasion from threats that are coming up from the ground or anything. If he's ever seen, then that kind of speed is handy. And of course, taking the munitions to the fight, you get them there quicker. You can launch JDAMs faster, so their impact is heavier.
Being stealthy doesn't mean the F-22 lacks firepower. It can attack anything on the ground or in the sky.
The weapon system has a huge variation of weapons, so no matter where our attack is coming from, we can attack right back.
Its weapons configuration is the same no matter what the mission. The Raptor packs 2 1,000-pound bombs, 4 heat-seeking air-to-air missiles, and an onboard cannon ideal for dogfighting. When that arsenal is unleashed, the enemy won't know what hit him. The F-22's predecessor, the F-15 Eagle, has an incredible strike rate. But the Raptor is aiming to blow that record out of the sky.
So far, I think with the missile drops and the bomb drops that we've done, I think we've been, within 6 feet of target every time?
Exactly.
Our accuracy rate's like 92% or something like that. That's unparalleled with any aircraft.
What is it like working on an aircraft that nobody else can find when it's in the air?
Navy guys hate it. We went up against quite a few Hornets while we were in Alaska, and they walked with a lot of respect after that.
The F-22 Raptor is the new generation fighter aircraft leading the way through the 21st century. Coming up, I get to smash down a few walls going after the bad guys with an amazing new weapon. knock out the latest missile that claims to have an incredible range that's 5 times further than its nearest rival. In the war against terror, armed forces are increasingly called upon to deal with hostage situations. In 2004, the world watched in horror as gunmen held children hostage in Beslan, Russia. It was difficult to retrieve the initiative because the kidnappers had booby-trapped all the doors and windows. Every move was anticipated. Just entering the building was lethal, both for hostages and rescuers.
When trying to rescue hostages, this is the most dangerous position. The entry. See, the bad guys know where you're going to come in from, so they're going to concentrate all their fire on that location. That's why they call it the fatal funnel. But what if you could avoid the fatal funnel completely?
To find the solution, I flew to England, where a new weapon in the war against terror has been invented.
Firing!
Dr. Sidney Alford is a weapons designer and the brains behind a new device called Gatecrasher.
Firing! 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dr. Alford has spent his life developing maximum efficiency explosives. His latest creation literally blows you away into a building.
It is essentially a charge for blowing a hole to give access to people on one side of the wall to other people on the other side of the wall, for example, and archetypically rescuing hostages.
The keys to successfully resolving a hostage crisis are surprise, speed, and violence of action. So Gatecrasher takes the initiative back to the rescuers by giving them the element of surprise. If you don't want to go in through a regular door, Gatecrasher smashes the wall to give you a whole new door. No invite necessary. The genius of Gatecrasher is that it uses water held in a plastic jacket that's wrapped around the explosive. The water contains the blast, making it more powerful. It's known as a tamping effect. This means you need less explosive, which means less debris and less backblast. Good news for the hostages and the rescuers who can stay closer to the device. And this gives the rescuers speed.
Up the middle, it hasn't got a piece of a clothesline. Up the middle, it hasn't got a piece of string.
Dr. Alford is about to show me how an explosive charge can be used to cut through almost anything. He's got a few yards of det cord. It's flexible cable packed with explosive.
Cut about this much. It's got a fine white powder, which is the explosive PTN stuff in it.
We're going to use a smaller version of the Gatecrasher, called the Alford Strip. It's another Alford design, and up until recently, it was still classified.
Plastic tube. It's essentially a container in which we'll put some water.
The explosive cord is fed into the Alford Strip, and we fill the rest of the tube with water. Now we'll see how the water contains the blast and turns that little piece of explosive into a powerful cutting tool. For our experiment, the Alford Strip is placed onto a block of wood 2 inches thick. It's normally what special forces use to smash through a door.
That's brilliant.
State of the art, though.
That's state of the art.
Final preparations are made to set the charge.
Firing! 4, 3, 2, 1.
I love explosives. Look at that. It was perfect. It's exactly what we were looking for, isn't it?
Precisely.
Now, the charge didn't knock these bricks over. That was just the weight of the wood toppling, right?
As we stand this brick up, we can reconstitute it.
Absolutely. There you go. Just that alone will do, yeah.
You can use just an explosive charge to break in a door, of course. People have been doing that for a long time. But this technology enables you to reduce the amount of explosive you need to about a quarter or even a fifth as much. The effect really is quite dramatic.
In other words, we would have had to take 5 strips of det cord to be able to achieve this result.
If you're using that det cord 5 strip, yeah.
The tamping effect turns the detonation cord into a precise explosive blade that slices through the material while containing and minimizing the explosive blast. So, Dr. Alford's ingenious design works in theory.
A science experiment is one thing. It's time to do a field test.
Coming up, I get to take part in a live exercise to free hostages. Will Gatecrasher blow the kidnappers' plans? And later, I get to witness the launch of a new long-range ground attack missile. It's as accurate as it is powerful.
Four, 3.
Dr. Sidney Alford is a world expert on explosives. he's designed a way of turning a small amount of explosive into a precise cutting tool called the Alford Strip. In the war against terror, it could prove to be a powerful new weapon. But it doesn't stop there. Using the science behind the Alford Strip, a new device has been created that could be a turning point in ending hostage situations successfully. By making your entry point anywhere you want, rescuers keep the element of surprise. Gatecrasher was designed by Sidney Alford's son, Roland. According to him, when you want to make a real impression and you need to smash through walls without bringing down the house, that's when you need the Gatecrasher.
Well, this is a Gatecrasher, and it's basically a scaled-up version of the charge we saw earlier. So you've got water behind it as tamping, and we flip it over here. You've got a channel here where we put our explosive. In this case, we're going to be using det cord. Otherwise, you can use C4 or PE4, any plastic explosive. Well, we have to
the Gatecrasher uses a water jacket to focus the blast from a small amount of explosive to become a powerful cutting tool, able to slice through thick concrete. We're topping off the water jacket with the last bottle of water. Then we feed the detonation cord into the groove, using just 5 strands.
What's the major advantage you have using Gatecrasher?
Right, it's safety. Basically, because we're using the water tamping, we can use a fraction of the amount of explosive you'd have to use if you just put explosive on there, which means that you can be closer to it. You're not sending fragments straight through the wall and killing people on the other side, because obviously there's no point in firing the charge if you're going to kill the people you've gone to rescue.
The device can punch through 19 inches of brick. The next version will be able to go through 2 feet of solid concrete. Warrant Officer David Winsper helped develop Gatecrasher.
It gives you that shock and awe. It keeps the momentum going of any battle. It's explosive methods of entry to keep punching the forward line of troops forward, and it does demoralize the enemy.
Gatecrasher may look big, but it's easy to carry. That's a big bonus when you're moving from corner to corner in a street fighting scenario. So, here's the drill. We're going to do an exercise to show Gatecrasher in action. It's a remote location. The doors and windows are sealed up. There's no way of knowing what's going on inside.
Doors and windows. Now, the bad guys, they like to booby trap the doors and windows, so we can't use them. We have to find another alternative to entry. Ready?
There are 2 hostages. The bad guys have issued an ultimatum, and we don't have much time. What they don't know is that we have a big surprise in store for them. My team cover me as I place Gatecrasher against the wall. The kidnappers are about to get some uninvited guests.
With Gatecrasher, we were able to deliver all 3 elements of a successful attack: surprise, speed, and violence of action.
Using slow-motion cameras, we can see the Gatecrasher in action. The water focuses the blast forward. It's so efficient that the detonation cord cuts a neat man-sized hole in the wall. That's the surprise. There's no harmful shrapnel for Gatecrasher, so I can lead the squad straight in after the blast. That's the speed. Finally, with the kidnappers still reeling from the shock, we can take them out. Violence of action. And rescue the hostages, leading them to safety. Gatecrasher is so effective at creating a surprise entrance, it's now in use on the front line. It's helping troops hunt insurgents in Afghanistan and Iraq.
If you can use less explosives to achieve the same effect, then immediately you're cutting down on the weight. For anybody carrying that weight on the ground, on foot, it's a complete advantage.
Gatecrasher helps you make a grand entrance. It's fast, it's effective, and it leaves the bad guys no escape. Coming up, it claims to strike nearly 5 times further than any other tactical missile. Is this the dawn of a new future weapon? When you want to attack the enemy behind the front line, you need a weapon that can strike with deadly precision. I recently saw the MLRS, the Multiple Launch Rocket System, hit a target accurately from 40 miles away. But what do you do if you need to strike further? To attack even deeper behind enemy lines, an airstrike can be ordered to rain down laser-guided bombs. But precision air attacks can be disrupted by the weather. I've heard about a new weapon that can operate in any weather, travels more than 4 times the distance of the MLRS, and hits enemy targets with pinpoint accuracy. This new weapon has brought me to White Sands, New Mexico. In the last 60 years, 45,000 missiles and rockets have been fired here. I'm about to see the testing of the latest generation of guided missiles. It's known as ATACMS. That's military shorthand for Army Tactical Missile System. It can travel up to 180 miles carrying a single 500-pound warhead.
An Army Tactical Missile System is the Army's only long-range precision surface-to-surface precision strike missile capability.
And its latest version is pushing technology to the max. It can hit a target from a near vertical drop, which increases its accuracy and lethality. Whether the target is in mountainous terrain or an urban building, nothing can escape the all-seeing eye and destructive power of ATACMS. An earlier version of ATACMS used cluster bombs to take out the enemy, but blanket bombing could lead to high civilian casualties. So it evolved into a single warhead. Major Samuel L. Peterson is the military backer behind the latest version of the ATACMS family.
As we graduated into the 90s with the conflicts in Bosnia and Kosovo, we recognized a need to develop a unitary type of warhead instead of the bomblets that could minimize the collateral damage on the targets that we were going after.
A single warhead reduced civilian casualties, but it flew at a 45-degree angle. If anything was in the way of the target, it got hit first. In urban warfare, you need a weapon that can hit a specific target precisely. Otherwise, the damage can be catastrophic. The latest development in the ATACMS family is called the T2KU, and it's had a major overhaul.
We enhanced what is called the guidance system. We manipulated such that we were able to change the downward slope on the vertical end of the trajectory.
This was a key enhancement. By improving the guidance system, the missile gained a near vertical strike capability, focusing all of its crushing power on one specific spot.
Using the vertical impact capability, we now are able to go into different types of terrains that we haven't been able to in the past. For example, mountainous and urban terrains. This was not originally able to be done.
Here at White Sands, I'm going to see this vertical strike capability up close. Preparations for the test are nearing an end, and I've been granted a preview of the target area. For the grand tour, I'm traveling in style. The target is an incredible 84 miles from the launch point. By helicopter, it will take us 53 minutes to reach it. The T2KU missile will get there in just 168 seconds. White Sands Missile Range is ideal for testing long-range weapons. It's the largest military installation in the United States. ATACMS uses GPS to pinpoint its target, and it's just been fitted with new guidance software to increase its accuracy. This is the first flight test with the new guidance system. Everyone is understandably nervous. The GPS has to guide the T2KU warhead over 84 miles and hit its target, striking it from a near vertical position. The question is, will it work? To measure the effects of the impact from the ATACMS missile, the impact area has been set up to mimic a military target, complete with heavy equipment and wooden mannequins. The missile is designed to strike hard targets with pinpoint accuracy, but the blast radius reaches far beyond the impact area, and that's lethal for soft targets, represented by these mannequins.
It's one thing to actually try and destroy materials. It's a whole nother thing when you're talking about taking out human targets. The concussive blast wave that'll come through this area will decimate the human body, even if the target is still standing. When that concussive wave travels through, all that hydrostatic shock is going to be transferred to the body, basically squishing all those fluids together and ending that man's life.
Ben Collins has over 20 years of experience with ATACMS and detailed the original specs for the missile.
A lot of times people expect for ammunition to actually hit on the target. The system isn't really designed for that because you're never going to have 100% accuracy at all times. You actually receive a circle where your system has to come in and land within this circle area.
Coming up, I get to see the Army's latest surface-to-surface missile fly high in the sky. But will it land as predicted? Will the new guidance system work as hoped? All I know is they've had to clear 100 square miles of airspace. The ATACMS T2KU missile is the Army's only surface-to-surface missile that can hit a long-range target with near vertical impact. Here at White Sands, they're testing the latest version on a purpose-built target. And to get them there, you need a beast of a launcher. Meet the M270A1 launcher.
All right. Teach me, Dino, teach me. All you do is turn the gas on, push it down.
This 25-ton hunk of metal carries and fires the ATACMS missiles, one in each of its 2 pods. And today, I get to go behind the wheel.
Drop the handbrake, drive, let it drive. Now we're ready? Ready to go. We'll just gas it up a little bit.
Now, when you want to get around in the desert, nothing beats having an ATV quite like this one. So, see you guys later.
Firing these surface-to-surface missiles needs a launcher that is capable and highly mobile. The front line is always moving, so the launcher for the T2KU missile has to be able to move along with it and get into position fast. It can travel cross-country at speeds up to 40 miles an hour and switch directions in an instant.
Like a Cadillac across the desert. It's awesome. I'll tell you what. Not like every day you get a chance to drive a vehicle like this.
But it's not just a powerful mobile vehicle. The M270A1 fires the deadly missiles out to a range of 180 miles. That's the longest surface-to-surface missile in the Army's inventory.
What's it like having that much firepower at your fingertips?
It gives you a good feeling, especially when you're out there on the real firing point out there and you're shooting. You feel pretty much invincible. I mean, like, nothing stopped you, and you know that the guys are waiting for you on the other side for you to clear it out for them. You're able to do your job.
The launcher is versatile, too. It can carry either 2 long-range ATACMS missiles or up to 12 shorter-range MLRS rockets. Its camouflaged hatch door disguises its actual payload.
It is one of our techniques to confuse the enemy. We don't want him to know what we've got. Insurgents are everywhere in today's battlefield, and we know that they're watching us. So I don't want him to have the ability to distinguish from my 13-foot-long missile versus what a 6-pack of guided MLRS say would offer him. As long as he doesn't know what I've got, then I keep him guessing at all times, and I make him react to me.
And it's time to put the T2KU to the test.
Tremendous struck checks complete. Check on 113.
Final preparations at White Sands are underway, and the launcher pods are being loaded with the 500-pound class warheads.
Project, do I have a go for launch? Right, gotta go. Dispatching, mark, T-minus 40 seconds, ain't counting.
That's it. All the testing is done. There's nothing left to say. You either hit the target or you don't.
Launcher TC. TC launcher. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Delay 9, 7, plus 150. That's 20 seconds.
There's a missile flying.
Right there. That's 120.
The data coming back shows the missile soaring through the sky. As it nears the target, it changes its path to begin its vertical descent.
Now just a near vertical.
That's 155 seconds.
Beautiful shot.
Plus 160.
Yes, good job.
Plus 165, 166, 167.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Congratulations, Bud.
Wow, Dr. Marble, we do have impact equipment.
Well, it looked dead bang on the monitors. Now I get to see it in person.
there's no fear of unexploded ordnance. The T2KU hits its target. No person could survive that blast.
Look at this crater.
Pretty nice crater, isn't it?
It's a beautiful crater.
That near vertical impact capability, and you can see how close we are to the target area and the type of crater area produced in order to minimize collateral damage.
Oh, there we go. He's pretty much done.
Yeah, I don't think he's feeling much anymore.
No, he's done.
The missile traveled 84 miles in just 168 seconds, striking with pinpoint accuracy. And hitting this target at near vertical impact is exactly what the Army was looking for.
We're talking about the northwest corner of that building and taking it out with that kind of precision.
That's incredible. It's very clear that the ATACMS T2KU missile leaves quite an impression.
Reaching further than any other tactical ground attack missile system, there's no escaping ATACMS.